Yep.
Yeah, let's talk about BDNF, because a lot of people, I think, if they hear about it, maybe they hear about it when talking about like ketogenesis, kind of they talk about that a little bit.
Nobody
But
talks about BDNF. Everyone likes to talk about serotonin. It's like the 90s. It's like brain science never evolved for people. It's like they're all still listening to Madonna. And you're like, there's like some new bands. People are like, nah, I like Madonna. And
I'll stick with my cone bra and listen to Madonna.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, come on. So I mean, BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, is this neurohormone. It's called a neurotrophin. And it is what facilitates brain cells, one, being born, new brain cells being born in the hippocampus. Number two, brain cells like reaching out, like a lot of these newer antidepressants like ketamine, or I guess you call them older antidepressants, stuff we've known about for a while, but now it's getting more acceptable, psilocybin, MDMA. One of the ways that those seem to work is by just inducing a lot of brain cell sprouting, that the brain cells are kind of reaching out to make new connections. And BDNF helps regulate that. It's really the master regulator of that.
Interesting.
It's cooler than serotonin. Serotonin's still cool, but like, and also people don't even realize this. Like, that's when people are like antidepressants, like serotonin. It's like, okay, what do you think that after you bind the serotonin receptor, what do you think happens? Like, one of the things that happens, one of the reasons it takes a month for an antidepressant to work, is there's an induction of BDNF. So psychotherapy, lithium, antidepressants, exercise, better sleep, and better diet all influence BDNF. Okay. And it makes sense. Like all these interconnected systems that if they're working, that's why we feel better. Our brain's like just taking better care of itself.
Yeah, interesting. Isn't there something to do with sleeping and increasing BDNF as well? Sort of a detoxification of the brain when you're sleeping?
Yeah, so exactly. So your brain makes like 7 grams of waste a day, which is like a couple of teaspoons. And if you just think about it, it's like all up there dissolved in your brain fat, and it's like a pain in the ass to get it out. But every night while you're asleep, that's what your brain does. And that's why sleep is so important. And sure, like you can survive on 5 or 6 hours, you can survive on shitty quality sleep. Like your brain has been surviving for like millennia. Like survival is not an issue. If it's got like a warm, clean bed and some calories, it's actually like, gonna get by. But to really, I mean, I think it's where everybody knows this. Or you get that good night's sleep and you wake up and you're like, wow, that was a miracle. Like I feel so much better. It's not always, but a lot of times, especially if you're sleep deprived. I remember being a young doctor in training where you just get pushed sometimes like 24, sometimes 36 hours where like you're falling asleep on your feet, like everything aches, your eyelids ache, and you'd hit the bed, you'd be out. I remember I fell asleep in some restaurants. It was embarrassing. I fell asleep at a club a couple of times. Like, who's the young resident? I was like, sorry. I was like, yeah, no, I got it. Anyway, but you fall asleep, you'd wake up the next morning and it was like, all that stuff was just better, right? You just felt better. And so, yeah, sleep's very related. It's how brain, if you don't get that deep quality sleep, really particular part of our sleep cycle where the whole kind of brain, these other set of brain waves kind of take over and the brain enters this very different state when it's cleaning itself. It's like the wash cycle. It's like, and it's where sleep is so critical to this. It's sort of interesting. Like where people don't move their bodies and stay flexible, you end up not feeling very good. If people don't eat well, you end up not feeling very good. And if people really don't take care of their sleep, you don't end up feeling very good.